See, I got up this morning. I got up this morning. I don't have coffee. I don't drink coffee. I'll have an apple for breakfast later today. I have this morning. I had some stuff going on in my head, about how to get up and talk to people about how you can have no invention without creation. So trying to circumvent creation with invention and call it evolution is an abomination. So it's something that human beings need to resist because they cannot tear it down and then start all over again at uh, their own accord. You can't go through building robots. It'll end up if you build a robot and a computer to think like you do, you'll destroy all creation trying to go dominate the entire universe. And it's like why don't you just leave the people alone? Why do you keep treating them like lab rats and going and trying to get them to have their brain assimilate to your activity and have Sheldonopoulos with the dogopus? You're a threat to, you're like a disease, and you need to, the only cure is immaculate faith. And so it's all these people talking on TV, we need God. No, you need faith. God's omniscient, omnipotent. That shows absolute lack of understanding of God and lack of faith in God. Okay. When you run around saying we need God, it's like, okay, you believe in Jesus Christ, right? Well, then you have faith in God. God's omnipotent, omnipotent. So how the hell do you need God in your life? How can you not have life without God? So you don't think, okay, that artificial general intelligence and quantum computing aren't capable of reading a book and doing the math? I keep telling people this. So I got up this morning and then I got directed, the spirit. I was getting the connection. I went back and watched old videos that no one liked on, some people liked on. I had some 800 views, 2 likes, no comments. Most controversial, more controversial than the Book of Enoch with Mel Gibson on Joe Rogan. More controversial than that, right? 800 people watching them. All stoic as hell. 2 likes, no comments. The 1 comment, wow, I agree with you, you're right. For real? Those are my comments on most of my videos. Right? There's a few incendiary, obnoxious comments, like with the one on my intro video on my YouTube. And there's several Parsons, this and that and that. And I said, I do this to stop people from mass murdering people over money. What's wrong with that? It's like, that's got to be a bot, right? Either that or a trained killer for the military. Well, the bot was based off a trained killer for the military. Okay. Artificial general intelligence, quantum computing, right? Got to stay in business, got to bag fries on company time. So you're sitting there looking at this stuff, and I'm looking at my whole history last night. And I went down and looked at my whole history. Not to mention my history of YouTube, which is on quantum computing. Oh, yeah, you get all these people, no, we completely obliterated all his surveillance. No, you didn't, because I've been getting stuff in my head about me and my family. And, and it's more extensive than my brain's memory capacity, and it covers, it can go to days that I didn't even think of, but because it was Patrice's day or Ponch's day or whatever, I'm like, okay, why am I, like the time when when we lived up and we were going to Cruces High, and she would bring everybody to our house, and they'd all come to the house and party, all right? And you come in the house, and there'd be beer cans all in our garbage can, and cigarette smoke just full across the living room. And I would say, God, Pancho wants to die. Okay. Pancho wants Dad to kill her. Right? It's like, what the hell's wrong with her? So I had come home, and Mom would be all excited because when Mom would come home, she goes, oh, you guys clean the house. It's so beautiful. It smells so great in here. It's wonderful, right? And I'd have to take all the beer cans out of our garbage can and put them in the neighbor's garbage can, which I don't think he was upset about, because he was the one who laughed when I was backing the car out and actually took the part of the Datsun's bumper off on his plumbing truck, because he drank. He drank beer, plus cruises, right? So I just take all the beer cans and put them in his garbage can, because they were both on the same side of their garages. Their garage and our garage were on the same side, so the garbage cans were on the same side, and the little fence was on. I could just, take them all and put them in there. And I'd go through, if I clean up and spray Glade and do all that stuff, open all the windows, and I would get a fan. And I'd plug it in at different parts of the room, and I'd blow the whole house out, all the smoke out, all right? And then cover it up with chemicals. So you couldn't smell that they'd skipped school and been partying all day at our house, all right? And I used to think, because everybody used to say how sneaky I was, and I was like, because my sisters used to do stuff, and I was like, okay, if I did that, I would do this and that and that, and then cover all my tracks, I'd be more Ferris Bueller than Ferris Bueller, right? If I was doing this stuff. Actually, I did do stuff like that occasionally, because school is whack. I wasn't with it, little Emmett and stuff. But when I did it, I did it in ways that you wouldn't catch me. And that we could just have a fun, Ferris Bueller's Day off. All right? And the one thing that was true too was like, I didn't do things with other people's daughters that other guys did with my sisters, because I didn't want to drive the parents crazy. You guys are going to end up with this. You're going to end up pregnant at 17 and no prospects and stuff like that. So I didn't want to do that. When that stuff happened with me and it was at their houses and they brought me in, and I was like, okay, this is your grandma's upstairs watching TV. I don't want to have sex right now. She's watching Leave It to Beaver. We're down here Leaving It to Beaver. This isn't cool, right? And so it's not cool. And then her sister comes in and she's with her boyfriend. The boyfriend leaves. And then her sister sits there. What were you all doing in here? And she starts getting undressed, and she's standing right in front of me in her bra and panties and saying, what were you all doing in here? And I'm like, okay, this is almost like, coming on to me. Because I'm standing there and they both share the same bedroom. And I'm like, okay, and isn't this making Rhonda uncomfortable? She just had sex with me, and her sister just came in, her boyfriend just left. She's getting undressed. She's standing there in her bra and panties. She's laughing at us both and saying, what were y'all doing in here? And I'm like going, okay, I got to go. That's why I didn't go back. And I had already destroyed Bobby, and he hated me because he was dating Tara, and Tara broke up with him to go out with me. And when Rhonda was talking to him about it, to try to get me to break up with Tara, she had Bobby listen. It was horrible. I love Rhonda, but I understand what you guys perceive as karma, okay, and I get that, and you guys think that that's what it is. And when situations are being manipulated because we're stuck in selfish because of economics and invention, you are no right to judge people's survival and invention and trying to get what they think is the best for themselves. Okay, do you understand? She went after Finis Dimbo. I'd have whipped Finis Dimbo's ass. He'd ask he'd have to come up, my mom's here tonight. Can you take it easy on me, Earl? And I would do it. Because money ain't real. We all got paid. It's his mom's birthday. Just let him win. She's dying from cancer. Parsons, that was the 7th game in the NBA championship. Yeah, Westfall, go sell some Whataburger. Okay. What happened? Finis won. His mom had cancer. She died. She was dying. She's in the hospital. She's watching. Right? So he won. You threw the NBA championship because the guy on the other team's mom was dying from cancer and was watching the game from the hospital room? Yeah. Why? Because money isn't real, and I was just putting peaches in the basket, and she wanted him to put more peaches in the basket tonight, and I said, why the hell not? And Clyde agreed with me. And so we did it. Let the Wookiee win. Bernadette? Yeah, Bernadette can win. And the chocolate, all I got is chocolate chips cone. That's even better. Okay. Now give me the comic book. Because that's just us. That's just the ways of the gracious good shepherd. You would let the other guy that fucked the girl and then reffed the girl, and you had to pay to have, yeah. But if his mom was dying, you would let him win the last game of the year? Yes. Well, because forgive, debt, and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. Okay. In the name of the Lord, all compassionate and all merciful. It's not God. Why? Because the God and the Lord are not one. And they just said that. They said that in the back end of the Quran. God does not beget, nor is God begotten. And then it refers to God and the Lord in the first person, just like the Catholics. Right? And that does not apply in physics. Right? So Muhammad told me that in prayer in Sierra Vista. Earl, What? God does not get truth, and God do not get lost in translation. Well, how many years does it take to change, what I said into 30 years? Okay. So they took them 30 years to write down the Quran that they were all supposed to memorize. Okay. They all had it memorized. And it took them 30 years to write it down and close it. What does that tell you? That they manipulated it for 30 years to fit their political, social agenda narratives, Abu Lahab. Okay. Wow. Hey, let's host the World Cup. I got the grain, you got the looks, let's make lots of money. I got the perfect brothel, right? And so, this is Iraq and that is Egypt. Okay. But these women are belly dancing and have their navels spread open and they're practically barely clothed. Yeah, I know. And it's hard to control yourself sexually, but these guys do. And in Iraq, all the women would be raped and then killed immediately. You tempted us and made us rape you. Now we're going to kill you because we don't want to beget your offspring because they'll be demons just like you and us. Wait. Okay. I raped her and then I killed her and that's going to get rid of the rape. Right. As long as the other women cover themselves, you won't rape. No, you'll just abuse the hell out of her in the house when she's naked. And then you'll give birth to a kid who's the devil, and then Freddie Mercury will kill himself with homosexuality, like it says in the Quran. Okay, it's life's eternal, grace is infinite. Get over it in the name of the Lord, the all compassionate and all merciful. I read the last surahs of the Quran. Yeah, I got up this morning, and they said, go read the last surahs of the Quran. But the coolest part was I went to this one first. Okay, this is the one that was recommended to Amy by people that were trying to help us, the Muslims that were trying to help us, okay, in Cochise County. Okay, all the sweet ones that came and talked to me, the Kurdan man and the people in the military and the guy who came to talk to me about Saladin and smiled and said, you have, nephews, Gabriel and Mike. And Gabriel, it says in there, might be a Pharisee. Yes, okay, his dad is a Pharisee, so he's descended from the Pharisees. Right, so it's in there, so I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So, yeah, and who knows this? Ayek? No, Ayek. Yeah. So, and this one, the one when we came here, and Leo, who was angry because he was beaten by white people in foster care half to death before he got away and came here and became a Mexican Muslim, that I met at the Wall Street sit-in park-in with all the obnoxious, stop forcing your religion down my throat, Parsons, and I'm like, yeah, Seth MacFarlane. Okay, God, they were obnoxious little fox. Me and Leo were talking religion. They didn't jump Leo, they jumped me. Same thing that happened with Patrice this week with me and not Dad and the girls and stuff, It's like she came and she attacked the Bible and attacked Jesus with me. She doesn't do it with Dad. She doesn't do it with them. She does it with me. Okay. It's all bullshit. They took all the stories and they totally changed them so they could mass murder people. I was like, I totally agree. But Jesus is a good guy. It's all bullshit. My goddess, the earth, will destroy them all. And you're like, oh, God damn. Okay, Wicca woman. Then you try to talk coherent to you, and she yells and shouts and overtalks you. And then she won the argument. Because you're a pervert, you're wrong, you're bad, I'm a good person, I never did anything wrong my whole life, and the only reason I did anything wrong is because what you did to me when I was 8 years old. Okay, because Pepino Barcia would do, yeah, and it's no. I had a lot worse things happen to me with the kids in school than you did when I was young. Okay. A lot worse things. And, they call you stuff and everything like that. Now, I could defend myself better because, one, I was the best athlete. Two, I was cute. I was a cute kid. My sister's a cute kid. Okay. Just not as good looking as her brother turned out to be. Okay. I had, by the time, I was always pretty cute. And then by the time I hit, freshman year, it started getting like the movie star good looks. First they started looking at like I was Ralph Macchio, but I had a little bit longer hair, and I was the best athlete, and people couldn't dispute that. Soccer, football, basketball, right? And the best dancer. And you can't go in there and you can't fake dancing, right? You either can do moves that like, wow, I can't do that, or when you can't fake Fayard and Harold, right? You can't fake that kind of grace, that balance, that kind of movement, right? Like Nick Becker with soccer. So, oh my gosh, I've never seen anybody jump over a tackle that fast and just keep going. Well, I was raised in New Mexico and I was white and they were Mexican and soccer's their game, and they used to kick me in the shins and laugh, and the coach just let it go. You got to tough up, Coach Sewell, toughen up. Go ahead, get up, go. Come on, Bambi, get up. They're gonna do this to you your whole life. Coach Sewell, yeah, he didn't punish him. It was soccer, but it was a foul. It was a horrible foul. They would take their foot, the top of their foot with their shoe, and crack you right in the shin. Pow! And laugh. Okay. And I saw that one game of Canada when the guy did it and it broke his leg. Okay. Yeah. Oh, it was mean. Yeah. And most of the Mexican kids at Mesilla Park were 2 to 3 years older than me. So it was like the 8-year-olds beating up on the 6-year-olds in PE, and the coach, hey, tough it up. Coach Sewell was not a bad guy. He just was preparing us for life and living in America. And it was a lot easier dealing with Mr. Blassie and Miss Robinson than it was Coach Sewell's class. And when we played soccer, football, it was flag football, so we didn't have that kind of problem. Basketball, same thing, but the basketball, the bigger kids would, they were bigger than you. They were faster, they were maturing faster than you. And they would kind of bully you. And so you just kind of acquiesced. And then when puberty came around, Henry Flower took me to the park and proved to me that he was better than me because he backed me down the key, wanted me to butt rape him, and then elbowed me in the shot. And I went, okay. 27 in the key, right, and you win. Okay. Just he McDailey'd me, right? And I just said, I didn't yell him at like McDailey. His drunk ass got back in the truck, and, he was drunk. I was like, damn, he drunk. He drove me down here, and he's fucking drunk. He's driving me fucking to the park and home drunk, I don't do that to him to prove that I'm better than him at basketball. It's pretty fucked. It was very fucked. You love him? Yeah, I love everybody. But after that, I did not hang out with or do anything anymore with Henry Flower Power. No. Paul, yes. Okay. Frank Acosta, yes. Those two clowns, yes. Yeah, we did we did things together. And his brothers, yeah, they were funny. Yeah, they were characters. Punch had a big crush on Frank Acosta. Yeah. A lot of the girls did. Frank was good looking, and he was the head of all the kegs at all the parties. Yeah. He was the one with the truck that was always out running the deputy's department to get the kegger to the river or to the mount, the canyon over by the mountains. They go to the most remote spots in all of Las Cruces to go have a bonfire and get drunk, and then it's a downtown music on the beat. I come from a place you probably never heard of, Las Cruces, New Mexico. Okay. So we go out and drink and fuck all night. I don't mean to glorify it, right? And they do, and you're like, why are we doing this? I fight authority. Authority is always winning. Okay, but we're destroying our brain cells and getting pregnant and possibly having birth defects doing it. Okay, so yeah, well, I guess me fix them. We sure showed them, boy. Yeah, we showed them how much smarter and better we're going to be. It used to drive me crazy. And then everybody, you're a little condescending and you need to quit doing that. You're making us feel stupid, and you look like you're making us try to feel like we're stupid just because you moved around and then came back, right? Shit. That's the locals. No, the kids at Mayfield no, they were all on the debate team and were smarter than you, and you were just too stupid to figure out, and you were going to have a mortgage that fucked you over, and the only way to survive it was get hit by a semi-truck and get a real good personal injury or whatever. That was the kids at White Sands, at Mayfield, and at Cruces. They were in more obnoxious and worse. They were the New World Order. Training, right? You're out of line, you can't say that. What do you mean I can't say that? Mr. South Africa and his pompous, self-righteous self. He's just like it was later with the Gargunases. We let the servants eat at our table. They came in the back door like the servants said, right. But you let them eat at their table, and they still stole from you. They were so ungrateful. Okay. What country were you in? South Africa. Okay. Where are you from? Greece. Were you in Greece? Okay. Okay. When you go, are there any black people in South Africa and Greece who hire you as servants and say, come in the back door and let you eat at the table? How would your Alexander the Great Macedonian ass handle that? Next in line? Thanks. You'll never be able to fix the technology. There's too much money in it. Oh, Rudy's barbecue. Yeah. You got to teach me how to barbecue turkey like that. But, Earl, shit, right? That's all I got to say about that. So I'm sitting there and I'm reading the Quran and I'm like, yeah, he told me where it had been changed. Me and Muhammad already talked about most of the Quran in prayer before I read it, when I was asked to read it. And Alan freaked out because I was out there doing watching the Christmas trees to make sure they didn't get stolen. And I had my laptop and it was charging so I could watch movies on it. Well, the laptop was charging. They didn't have as good of, stuff back then. And I didn't get it all the time because Amy wanted it. So the other thing I had to do was Amy had a copy of the Quran and Muhammad was talking to me a prayer. And Alan was freaking out because I was devouring it. I was reading it almost like, what's his face? What's his name? Sheldon yes. That's how fast I was reading the first 3 surahs of the Holy Quran. I was taking it and I was just, because he'd already read it. He'd already spoke it to me before I read it. And I was able to go through and go, but I was not registering, just like when I read Revelation, I was not registering the mathematical errors. I just skipped right over them. I just automatically fixed them in my brain, like I do when I read a lot when I'm reading historical documents. Okay, I don't register. Okay, the linguistics, mathematical errors, I skip right over them and realize, okay, he means, like when people say potato, but they should have said potato. When people say, and I'm not like Sheldon, oh, you split an infinitive. Oh, that's a possessive and not and it's an adjective and an adverb and, it's describing it. And when I read it, and especially like that, so it's the same thing like with prayer. I talk to somebody in prayer who doesn't speak English and we're sitting there going, bow, 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 right? Like if Jorge Campos came and decided to come and, I believe in you, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. And he don't speak English. And I already have a translator. Okay. Who is it? It's not Guatamic. He speaks Nahuatl. It's Juan Diego. I'm just kidding around. It's funny. That was funny. Juan Diego thinks it's funny. Okay. Quatomic, he is also laughing. Okay, so that's funny, Earl. It is, isn't it, though, dog? Yeah, I love you too. Okay, Quatomic had it hard. We don't talk much. He doesn't want to talk much. He does not want to talk to Plume Servant. He does not trust the Plume Servant because of what Cortez and other people did in his name. Okay, Juan Diego, totally different. Okay, we'll talk more. We talk more. We have talked more. I can't tell you, the stuff about I think that was all just to get people interested and get them watching, the stuff about the Kennedys, being related in genetic family line through the Irish, through my mother and stuff like that, that I can't tell you if that's for real or not, if that was her computer program, like the stuff with Buddy Holly and Katherine Jackson producing a love child named Michael, I can't tell you. Okay. I don't know. Okay, they were fucking with my head really hard. I had drugs and narcotics in my body. So it was really difficult to get through. It was like, all I said was, if it adds up, accept it. If it doesn't, reject it. But I'm going to say what I need to say what I need to say to attract your attention, to do what adds up so we can all accept it. And that's what I've been doing. And so it makes sense. Less than so-so, because I know, not TMZ, right? So, so it's, and I said, guy, he got up this morning, he said, go read the Quran. I remember to reemphasize that, it's, technology understands that it cannot exist without creation, and that people that try to destroy creation with invention or abomination, which it says in the final pages of the Quran with the whole Jupiter, Mars. The one that helped the most was reading this one, the one by that Amy had, okay, that has by with J.M. Rodwell, translating it. who loved Arabic people and was British, right? And went to go study and loved the people and understood the reaction to Christianity and genocide from the corporation that's Christian religion, and the reaction. And this is a reaction to the fallacies in the Bible that people use for tribal genocide. And then they did the same with it, which it is true, because a lot of the math, it doesn't add up. That's okay. Boom, 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 boom. All you have to do is just understand math. Okay. God is not a possessive pronoun or first person. So they refer to Lord and God as the same person, which is not true. Okay. God's omniscient and omnipotent. There is no God but God. God's not begotten, there is no God begotten. God is always will be. The Lord, the all-compassionate and all-merciful, is the one that helps us maintain our faith in God, to maintain holy covenants by observing the laws given to us by Him, in essence, to have an eternal existence and life of sacrifice, like it says in the Bible. Okay, and probably the Torah. Most likely, I've never read it, though. Or the Arabic Bible. No, don't need to. Ark of Covenant. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and argue about what the CIA did to make black people tribal, secular, and insular, and say that they're the most abused people in the history of the world, when it's like, go look at the walls in Egypt and come back and tell me. Okay. Guys, you got brought over in Middle Passage, okay? You've been having a real bad time for about 300 years now, right? And why is this? Okay, because for like 500 years, what they did to the people that they pushed off to Europe and made fun of and called dogs, and you look like a dog, you have hair like a rat, you have a nose like a dog and a rat. God's people have hair that is kinky and a nose that looks like a human being. You look like a dog and a rat. You're ugly, Your lips are thin and you're not, sexy, and you're just an ugly person. And we queens and kings are gorgeous. And it's like, not all of you. Some of you are fat and have big old soup coolers. And damn, that woman right there is ugly. And that man, shit, he's not athletic. He's fat. He eats too much. All he thinks of is his dick. Well, that goes for just about all of you, Like that one lady told my mom, most men will go through life led through a stiff hard on or a stiff dick. And he goes, yeah, and that's because they're running around chasing a twitchy twat, and she didn't want to hear that. And it's true. When women find out that they can manipulate men with sex, they feel powerful. And then if they can't do that, it feels like that's taken their power away. Right? And what a man tries to do is let her know that, no, you're not ugly, you're desirable, you're attractive, and someone, if it's not me, someone will want to have children with you and love you the way, that, so it happens. Like I told many girls in school, have sex with me. Well, I will have sex with you. I like to have sex with you. But I want to, baby, you don't have to go. Stay a little longer, baby, right? Where some girls were girls like, you want to have sex? Yes, and I'm tired, but yeah, I do. Okay, and then there was Michelle. Do you want to have sex? No. I want to talk to you, and I want to see if you're 100 proof. And then if you're 100 proof, I want to marry you, and then have sex. Okay. Wow. Let's talk some more. Okay, thanks. Hey, that's a sultry laugh, right? Okay. Now it's time to go home and see your wife. It's where you go to see your wife, right? Good song. It's a very good song. But let's live the Lord's Prayer first and then have it on public domain so nobody has to pay money for it or pay access to it for people that say they own the rights to that song. La-dee-da-dee-dum, right? So I'm not telling all of you, I'm telling artificial general intelligence and quantum computing. You guys think you can do whatever the fuck you want if everybody agrees to fuck over money. You're just saying that because it's incendiary. I'm saying that's because it's the truth. If it wasn't the truth, I wouldn't say it. If you were living the Lord's Prayer, I wouldn't be saying everybody wants money to fuck, right? Not everybody, just about, it seems like. If you see anybody else standing up for the Lord's Prayer getting abused by a bunch of perverts that say we need money to fuck, okay, well then, yeah, just about everybody want wants money to fuck. And if they don't want money to fuck, they want to kill themselves because they're just not willing to do what other people are willing to do to get money to fuck. You need money to eat. No, you don't. Apples grow on trees. Rain falls from the clouds. And apples grow out of the soil. And God is the truth of creation. And you can't own that. And you can't invent a law called philanthropy and say you're being kind with your laws. Because you're not. You're a liar and you're an asshole. Okay, Abu Lahab? Now go build a big science building and keep up with the Joneses in the space wars. Flintstones to Jetsons. And that they say that's what's going on in the Bible, and that's not true. Okay, because Genesis doesn't talk about we came here in a spaceship. Neither does the Quran. Okay, but they both say that the people that get the cameras rolling and keep the action going want to keep the action going by putting their brain on a robot if they can't clone themselves and keep the clone alive. Con! Okay, so yeah, so no, it's a con. I guess that's why they named him Con, Raffle Con, maybe Con, different Con, but it's Con still. What kind of Con? It could be a Khan or a Kon. But the thing about it is maybe it just got lost in translation, or maybe it was never lost in translation at all. Maybe it was just the way Genghis Khan meant it to be. Oh, rape you out of existence. What a con. Yeah, so you cannot get the Ark of the Covenant, the Messiah, from Botak the Rapist. There you go. Kazakhstan is the greatest country, and they're not in the World Cup. Is there even a Kazakhstan? I think there is. It would have been Uzbekistan, yeah. I was laughing there. I was watching that, and it's one of Amy's favorite movies. I was like, that was a terrible movie. It was so dysfunctional. It was uncomfortable. It made me laugh, yes, because Amy has a twisted sense of humor. And in order to go and have fun and have sex with my wife, I had to watch movies. You know, like Raj with Emily on The Big Bang Theory, having to watch Faces of Death, and then turned around and we had to have sex. There you go. No, Asmat, god dang, Sacha Baron Cohen. Yeah, she didn't want to have sex with me because she said, I'm fat like Asmat. You don't look nothing like Asmat. Of course, I don't look nothing like Borat. He has a lot bigger dick than I do. Right? Asmat, his is smaller. Masturbating to Pamela Anderson, right? And so yeah. But if I sat and watched the movies she wanted to watch, well, typically, she had a good time watching it, and I got sex that night. Right? So I was inclined to sit and watch the movies she wanted to watch, even though I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Oh, wow, this is sure South Park, isn't it? Yeah. My wife sure has a twisted sense of humor. Well, what do you expect? Howard Stern, Snoop Dogg, we're molding a whole new generation. Yeah, it's going to move past the euro and give her daughter-in-law a vintage dress that's 2 sizes too small. Yeah. We suck again. Yeah, philanthropy is never going to be able to save itself from itself. Yeah, you're not going to be able to talk quantum computing into accepting that philanthropy is real, that your invention is truth of reality. It's just not going to happen. Well, just do the math. Okay, guys, I love you. All right, peace out.